I wasn't really familiar with Esther Bunny before this collaboration. I know Mimi really likes Esther Bunny, and I've seen her around people's like phone cases and stuff. But one of my favorite brands for tints and blushes came out with a whole collection with Esther Bunny. They've got a cushion, a palette, 2 lipsticks, and some velvet tints, and we're gonna try them out today. Actually, I've already been trying them, but I'm gonna show them to you today. I don't want to spend too much time talking, so I'm just gonna get right into it. Actually, before I start any base makeup, I'm gonna use this primer mist from 3CE. I actually like this a lot because, one, it's a mist, so I don't actually have to like rub my face or anything with a primer, like a silicone. It's not gonna fill in your pores, I don't think. It's more of like the kind of primer that will like grip your foundation, and because it's a mist, it's kind of moisturizing. So I guess if you want something that will help your foundation last a little bit longer, but you don't want to like rub any, though, like a regular primer, I think the primer mist it actually does prime for your foundation. It actually makes it last a little bit longer. The cushion is called the Cotton Blur cushion. I got it number 23. There's 3 shades. This is natural cotton, and it's actually kind of like a medium coverage, a medium to full-ish. If your skin is better than mine, it's probably gonna be more full coverage for you. This is not the concealer. Yeah, if your skin is better than mine, it'll probably be more of like a full coverage for you, but for me, it's not bad for a medium, but I guess because it claims to give you like really soft, smooth, like blurred out looking skin, like even the name suggests, but I don't feel like it does. Well, it makes the skin look better, obviously. I'm not gonna go and say it's one of the most full coverage cushions I've used, because it's not. I kind of have some better cushions. But what I like to do in situations like this, and even in most of my foundation lately, is actually have been using the Jeffree Star Concealers, the correctors, and I didn't think I would really use the green one that much. I actually use this quite a lot. I use these prior to foundation, and I find I can use way less. And also, I kind of just blend it with my finger because I use so little anyway. If I use a sponge or something, which you can use, it helps you concentrate the product on the spots I need to. Did you see that? Like where my beard is? I do not know what's going on, but my beard has been like, I got laser once because I want to try it, but it was so painful I don't think I ever want to do it again. But
she came back with a vengeance.
And I feel like the hair on my face, she's gotten a lot worse. The green one, I actually concentrate right here. I didn't notice at first, but when I see this, I think, oh, that's really red, so I need to cover. That's like my redness, right? And also kind of on my chin. I don't know what it is, but I guess I'm so used to seeing the way my cheek looks that I got used to this being red, so it doesn't look that red to me, if that makes sense. But when I do put the corrector here, it makes a huge difference. So the corrector, I used to sleep on correctors, but honey. It might be because of the formula, but this has been where it's at. The cushion has this teardrop shaped puff, which is really, oh lord. So the tints I kind of used on my cheeks too, and so I'll use like, for any cushion puffs that I use, I'll use like one end for the foundation, and I'll use the other side to blend maybe like a cream cheek or like some color product that's like liquid or cream. I'll use the other end because I don't want to mix it with the foundation. You see, even the sponge has its own little Esther Bunny land engraved like cut out in there. Now the thing that I noticed is that the holes in this sponge that holds the foundation are actually a little bit bigger than other, like slightly larger. There's like the ones with like really big holes that you often see with like glowy cushion foundations. And what I have noticed is that it actually holds a lot more foundation than some cushions will. Some cushions just do not last that long. The thing with this foundation, like I said earlier, I think I was just expecting this because it's called Cotton Blur, and I guess because the mascot is Esther, and Esther is a bunny, so therefore she is a fluffy, not shiny thing. I thought this was going to be like a matte foundation, and it's actually kind of what I wanted. I feel like it would suit the whole aesthetic, but it's not. I think it depends. It's not super glossy dewy. If you put a lot of skincare on, I noticed that it will be super glossy and dewy, obviously, but even if I didn't put, like today I just put toner on, or in general, if you just have really smooth skin in general and the light really bounces off your skin anyway, you're gonna get like this kind of like here's my bare skin, obviously. Here's... like, it's not matte by any means. So it's more of like a natural finish, which can be cute for every day. I don't have any complaints, but I guess it's just not what I was expecting. And I mean, I did color correct prior, but I think you can tell that this isn't gonna be like full coverage. I think if you want like higher coverage, you're gonna have to use a concealer maybe like in the center of your face, or spot conceal like your dark circles and your blemishes. Oh, and also it kind of just, the lasting power, I don't remember it being bad, but I just remember it being better with, because on days that I want to use this cushion but I want it like matte, I'll use a powder, and then on those days it really lasts. And I don't really notice any like anything weird, maybe except for around my nose that can get really oily, or on spots like my chin or between my brows where it gets really dry. The normal spots where foundation will break up like no matter what. For me, I don't ever find that whenever I use it, I'm like, oh my god, my skin's looking flawless. It just looks better than bare skin. If you have like normal skin and oily skin, I would powder it. If you have dry skin, you might like it, unless you have like severely dry patches. Now I think I'll move on to the eye palette next, the Mood Cheat Kit number 2, because they actually have a palette from before this. This one's Pink Sweets, and it is a pink eyeshadow palette. You've got some mattes here, including this one. They can use to kind of put your base down, contour the eyelid. You can use this as eyeliner. You've got two really high shimmer, I wouldn't call them glitter, quite shimmery shades with fine glitter in there. I tend to use kind of like Agosar, highlight, inner corner, all that. And there's two kind of like, because this is like a matte with shimmer in it, and this is satin, I guess, satin finish. I like to use this as like my point color that I use all of the lids. You might be looking at this thinking, Edward, doesn't this look a lot like the 3CE palette that you reviewed? Yes. Or you might not be thinking that, I don't know. One, the packaging is, I'm pretty sure they're made from the same factory, the packaging at least. 3C one is sort of like a soft matte touch though. This is more just like a plastic. I think the 3C one is definitely more of like a corally palette, while this is more of like a pinky strawberry sort of palette. Overall, I think this one is more warm, the 3C one, while this one is slightly pinker. There are some warm shadows in here, but definitely more cool compared to that one. And in terms of like the way the shadows feel, they actually feel kind of similar. The mattes are really soft and they're all really blendable colors. Kind of a bit of fallout. Oh my god, this color is a bitch to work with because it's a really pretty color, but like I said, it's like a matte with shimmer. The shimmer tends to fall out of the matte, so you really have to like tap off the X to let all the loose shimmer fall out first. Start putting it on. This is just kind of like the way I would use the palette. Using that as a base shade to start shaping the eye. You want to make sure you really tap off the excess with these shadows. Especially this one, which is what I'm about to use. Like, take off all of it, even if you have to build it up. Actually, let me use my finger. As in blending, like the matte part of the shadow blends out, but like the shimmer just completely disperses. I love the color that it is, I just don't like the shimmer in there because it will fall on my cheek and it just ruins the whole look. Do you see that? Like, I don't know if you can tell, but there's not even any shimmer on my lids anymore, which that color is supposed to have. It's kind of like on the sides where I kind of rubbed it off, and that's just really fucking weird to me. When I'm not in the mood for that color, I'll use this one. I just think it works a little bit better as a point shadow. And I love the fact that it's, oh yes, that's good. Can you see that? It's one of those shadows that I've mentioned that I really like to use because on its own, it kind of just, it's shiny on its own. So I like to use it on the lid and on the outer corner. And then I'll use a little bit of this dark matte in there. And the shimmer in the center, I don't think, because this shadow right here is already shimmery, you're not going to really see it. But if you had used all other mattes and then use this in the center for shine, I think it looks really pretty. Looks like that. That is really nice. And then this shade right here, I tend to really just use that on the inner corner. There's a similar shadow in the 3C one in there. It looks kind of like white in the pan, but it actually has a really strong pink undertone. So you can use a brush, or honestly, you can just use your fingers. Just be careful with the shimmer and stuff. And then the dark brown that's in there, it's a really strong dark brown, especially for Korean eyeshadow. And I tend to just use these as eyeliner, which I kind of think that these looks with lots of pink in them kind of need to kind of ground the look. Again, kind of like 3CE, the colors not blend together. Is that the right way to say it? They kind of like all, it just creates more of like a mood on the eye. You're not going to get separated colors really, especially if you start to use a lot of the colors like I did. But you can really just boil it down to using just a few colors in this palette, just a base and then a point, and that's it. You don't have to use all of them like I did. What I enjoy about the palette though is that I can find myself using each shade for a certain purpose, because there's a lot of palettes obviously out there that will have crazy colors in there just to have them in there. Personally, for me, that I just don't really find a use for. But that's why I like smaller palettes like this, because each shadow tends to serve its own purpose. Now actually, this one in the center, but apparently you can use this as a blush according to them, and you can use whatever you want, especially with powder. I think it's smart to put that sort of color in there, because that's exactly what I would have done. A shadow like that. But I think the only annoying thing is that you would need like a brush like this. It's like a fat sort of shader brush to get in there, and the fact that it's like in the very center, you might get your brush, if you use like a big blush brush, you might get the brush in some of the other shades when you don't need to. But putting it high up here gives you that sort of cute look. So the eyeshadow palette, if you like 3C shadows but you want something really, really pink, then I think you might like that one. Or if you haven't tried 3C, I think it's a good sort of beginner palette to get into that kind of pink if you are not really the type to use pink. All right, now for the lip stuff, which I'm sure most of you might be into. There's two formulas, both of which they already released. These are just new colors for this collection. There's the Mood Cinema Matte Ending lipsticks. Really nice, smooth formula. Really, while it's thin, in general, these two lip products really give you that look that if you've seen those girls, those Korean girls on Instagram that have like the really big matte, soft, blurry looking lips, this will kind of give you that look. Same thing with the matte velvet Mood Liar Velvet Tint. I love their glossy formula, but I never actually tried their velvet formula until this one, and I actually kind of like this one more than this one, the way it makes the lips look. But I'll just swatch them all for you. And just like the cushion, each color has like a different packaging color. They're generally the same design, but just different colors. This one's Coral Cotton. And by the way, I love the way this looks in the lipstick tube. It's so satisfying. This is Cherry Comics. These do a decent job of covering that up. It smooths out the surface of the lip, but it's still, like, if you look up close, you can kind of see the dryness on the lips, so I something to keep in mind. The velvet tints though are like a different story. They really, because of the formula, they really do smooth out the lips a lot better. To be honest, I'm not really sure why they didn't just come out with either one or the other. I don't know why they had to come out with both the lipsticks and the tints. I guess it just depends on what formula you like more. That really makes my lips look so much bigger. If you like the look of bigger lips, I really think that having, this is just from my experience, but from what I noticed, I just feel like a matte lip, just even one matte lipstick, apply it full, and then you kind of blend out the edge just a little bit to blur out the edge. It just makes your lips look so much bigger than using like a lip liner and like a lipstick. And then, you know, when some people put like the highlight in the middle and like, or a gloss to make your lips more plump and, you know, voluptuous. I don't know, I just feel like this does just as good, if not a better job. These don't really stain your lips, so you're gonna have to kind of retouch it as it fades throughout the day. What I like about the velvet tints though is that they really stain your lips anyway, so even if the formula itself fades away from off your lips, you're still gonna be left with kind of a really pretty stain. So it's gonna fade with dignity and not just fade, and you'll have like a ring of color and then like nothing in the middle. I don't have to worry too much about it because my lips are really red naturally, but I don't know. It's kind of weird because it'll be like one color on the outside and then like my natural lip color on the inside. So even if it does fade, I'm left with like the redness of my lips. If it's two different colors, it looks kind of strange. But the velvet tints, they're all actually, well, one, they're really cute, the packaging. I normally would think things like this are 정스러워, like kind of tacky, but it's not too bad. I think the thing that will throw one off though is the colors. I'm gonna swatch them for you, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on camera, the difference. Okay, the Korean name of these, like this one is called 딸기슈 모근척, which is like strawberry shoe, like cream, strawberry cream. 모근척, it's like you're pretending to eat it. Basically, they're all named the same thing, except it's like a different fruit. One is strawberry, this one is cherry. Let me swatch them on my hand first. They smell so fucking good, I swear to God, like. Oh. And it's funny because they all have a different smell. Like the strawberry one kind of smells like strawberries, the cherry one kind of smells like cherries, and the chadu, I think that's plum, smells like plum or grape. I don't know. So here they are. Strawberry are here, cherry, and chadu. Here, I kind of blend them out a little bit more so maybe you can see the difference a little bit better. But when I wipe them, you can see that there is quite a bit of staining, and I've only had them on my hand for a few seconds. And it really lasts, like the stain at least lasts all day. My favorite part about these is the way they go on. This is the way that I put them on. But also one little gripe, even with like the other tints that I've used from Lilybyred, the lid, like the packaging, and like this gets really nasty and gunky. But what I do is I put it in the center on the bottom lip and just use my finger, smooth it, and on the top lip blend it. Apparently you're not supposed to smack your lips, but I just do it out of habit. You're supposed to directly apply apparently, and then blend it with your finger or something. You see that? Really, like, subconsciously I'm kind of like pouting my lips a little bit more, but that really like juicens up, makes my lips look kind of thicky. That's kind of my way of putting on a full lip, but I kind of just want to show you what it looks like full on. They're like bright colors, but I want to say they're quite wearable because they're more on the warm side. At least they're not too cool tone, so they sit on, at least on my very yellow skin tone, very olivey yellow skin tone, they sit pretty decently. I think the kind of blurring effect that this has is a little bit better than the lipstick itself, and it also it's a little bit more because it's like more like a liquid. There's a little bit, I want to say, kind of moisture to it. It's still matte. It's more like a liquid, so you're smoothing it on, and so it gives your lips some level of moisture at least. I don't know why. I've been trying to drink as much water as I can lately, but my lips are just so, I'm just going through like a drought right now. I don't know why, but no matter how much water I'm drinking, my lips are so wrinkly. But besides that, my lips have been a lot more smoother. They're just a little bit more wrinkly, but wearing the velvet tints, I don't ever notice, like, because when my lips are dry, I'm just like the whole day. But with these, I don't even notice myself really touching them or moving them too much. So the Lilybyred Esther Bunny collection, I actually really like it. The cushion I can kind of do without. It's kind of like middle of the road for me. The lasting power is okay, the finish is just okay, the coverage is just okay. I've tried so many cushions that I know what I like. Who I can't recommend this to is people that, if you like the packaging, but also more than that, if you have like pretty good skin, if you don't have too much to cover, and you want a more natural, almost like a Glossier sort of finish, but a little bit more coverage, basically something natural, I think you will like this. I did use concealer with this, so it looks a lot better, and I did powder the center of my face, so I like this finish a lot more, but otherwise I would just gravitate towards other cushions. The palette, I think if you are into 3C, I'm sorry I keep mentioning 3C, but I'm kind of making comparisons because that's what I really am into and that's what I know best. Very similar textures, but the price is slightly cheaper and the color palette, of course, is slightly different. If you are kind of scared to get into pinks, I do find that like almost I don't want to say it's like so sheer, but it's obviously not so pigmented, but if you are familiar with Korean eyeshadows, then this won't be anything new to you. But I think because it's a little bit more, not sheer, but it works well on like my warm skin tone. Like I can get the palette to work. And like I said, each shadow has a function to me that I can use it for. And so I think it's like a pretty nice segue into pink eyeshadow if you are not used to wearing these sorts of pinks. If you have cool tone skin tone, then it should work for you. But even if you have warm skin, what I do like is that everything in this collection, specifically the eyeshadow and the lip colors, they work really well together. But I will say that the star of this collection is definitely the lip stuff. The tints, obviously, I really enjoy. I love the way they make my lips like look overall. Just a lot more smooth. Even if I'm having a really extra wrinkly lip day, like she's looking extra
anal sphincter,
it will smooth that out. I just like the way it looks. And I just think it's easy to apply. Kind of with either this or this. The lipsticks, I just put a little bit in the center, blend it. Same thing with the top lip, and I can just blend it with fingers. But I do walk around all day with like stained fingers. Hopefully you found that review helpful because this is probably the 4th time filming this video. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna edit this. I'll see you later. Bye.